What's going on, everyone? Happy Monday once again, and welcome to your WWE Raw review for February 8th, 2021. Hope you guys are having a great Monday evening, and we've got a pretty decent amount of stuff to talk about tonight. I wouldn't classify tonight's Raw as the worst Raw of all time by any means. I thought we had some solid in-ring work tonight on Raw. We had some information on Elimination Chamber. Big chunk of that card is now set after tonight. No real decisions yet in terms of Edge and Bianca Belair for WrestleMania, but this wasn't a completely worthless show, and we did have one big return tonight that made me a little bit worried about a potential WrestleMania match, because I'm not sure what the point of this person being back on TV even was, with the duties that Adam Pearce currently has on the roster. So we'll be getting into all of that, the results of tonight's show and what Elimination Chamber is looking like, the main event, we now know that, or at least the men's Elimination Chamber match we do, and what that could mean heading into WrestleMania. And I have a few issues with the Elimination Chamber main event. Not that happy about the announcement that was made tonight. But as always, I want you guys to hit me with your grades for the show, letter grades, number grades, whatever you want to give me, A, B, C, or D, 1 through 10. Let me know what you thought of the show. I guess off the top of my head, I'll go 6.5 or something, tonight. I think the in-ring work on a few matches tonight, I don't think Charlotte and Lacey was terrible. Wasn't a great match or anything, but it had its moments. It was all right. I thought Damian Priest and Angel Garza was pretty good. Keith Lee and Matt Riddle was very good. And main event was what it was. So, we've seen worse in terms of what's going on in the ring and stuff. So, and the New Day match was pretty good too, now that I'm scrolling through my notes. So it wasn't all that horrible. And like I said, at least we have some ideas now of what's going on at the Elimination Chamber. I'll say hi to everybody here in the chat. Let us gather around. Got a couple of scheduling notes to let you guys know about for this week. The Winged Eagle podcast is going to be airing at a special time this week. I'm going to do it Friday night after SmackDown, and there's going to be no Raw review next week. I'm going to be out of town, so I'll keep you guys up to date there and let you guys know what the deal is in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, what's up, Zane G in the house and Real American? Storm Melissa is here. Rob and Corporal Alpha Dorf. We've got Sex Machine. That makes two of us. JJ Leg, Ernie, Deshaun, Shell Shock. Ryan is here. Toxic Banana with some C's, 5s. Okay, 5. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be getting any B pluses or A's tonight. That's for sure. So yeah, probably C or below is likely going to be the letter grades for Raw. But in terms of number grades, I think I went 6. Did I go 6 or 6.5? I'm somewhere in there, give or take. Wow, Storm Adam, you haven't seen a Raw show in 3 years? Must have just been watching. Geez, I've been watching for a while now. That's crazy. Wow, 5 or 6. Man, you haven't watched since you were 17 and you're 23 now. Holy crap. Yeah. Kind of wish I was with you. This YouTube channel prevents me from stopping and watching. But if I didn't have this YouTube channel, I seriously doubt I'd really be paying much attention, just to be honest. It's just wrestling is so whack now. Good to see you, Martin. I'm very good. Having a great Monday. Monday is my Saturday. I've been off on Mondays for 25 plus years in all my years in restaurants, so it's always kind of been my day. I've always liked it. It's a great day to get shit done. You go to the store, go to the bank. There's nobody in there. Traffic's not bad when you're driving around because everybody's at work. And then you come home and cook a delicious dinner and watch some wrestling. That's kind of been my Monday for the past quarter century. I love them. We've got C's coming in from Andrew and Jim. Chris Ludecki's giving it a D. And good to see you, Jim. I'm doing great. So yeah, we got some interesting stuff to discuss. I should give you guys the scheduling notes now. Why don't I just do that? Let you know what you're going to see this week. Of course, this Sunday, Valentine's Day, we have the NXT pay-per-view. So you are going to get me Sunday night for Vengeance Day, the review of that. But normally I'm up here on Saturdays for the Winged Eagle podcast. But Saturday's not going to be possible. I have my niece's birthday. That day, I have to just make an appearance over there, drop off a present. I go into work a little bit earlier that day. I'm just going to bump it. I've got Friday night off, so I'm going to watch SmackDown on Friday, and then after SmackDown, just a few minutes after, I'll come up and we'll do the podcast. We'll talk about the week's news, the results, the what we see Wednesday on the two shows, and all that stuff, just like we do on Saturday. We'll just be doing it on a prime time of Friday night instead. And then next week, 1 week from today, I'm going to be out of town, so I'm not going to be here for the Raw review. I don't even remember the last time I missed a Raw review, so it's just 1 week. I'm just not going to be here next Monday, so just keep that in mind. I will remind you guys Friday night and Sunday night after Vengeance Day that I will not be here 1 week from today. But after that, we'll pick things right back up, and it'll probably be the only Monday Night Raw review that I missed. I also have some watch-alongs scheduled for WrestleMania season. I want to kick these off on February 28th with a doozy. Mark your calendars. February 28th, it's a Sunday night, last day of the month. We are going to do a watch-along of WrestleMania 17. 20 years ago, 20-year anniversary this year of that pay-per-view back in 2001. It was, I have a lot of memories of that, ordering it on pay-per-view and watching it that night. And it was the first time back in, a stadium setting since way back in the day. They had been just doing the small arenas. And it was Austin, Rock, Houston, we have a problem. Huge main event. Arguably, many fans consider, especially a generation of like Attitude Era fans and beyond, consider that the greatest WrestleMania of all time. And I think that would be a really fun one to start with. So mark your calendars, February 28th. I don't think that's conflicting with any... Oh, shit. No, it's not conflicting with an AEW or WWE pay-per-view from what I understand. So it should be perfect, and that's the night we're going to plan for that. Is the 28th, and then we're going to do probably 2 more at least in March, so feel free to throw out your suggestions for more WrestleMania pay-per-views to watch in the month of March as we head into WrestleMania this year. I'm going to try to do a few of those because the couple we did for Royal Rumble was a lot of fun, so keep that in mind for the future. For those of you who are here, please smash the thumbs up button for me. I'd appreciate it, and tell your friends. Make sure you subscribe if you have not yet already, and we'll start rolling into the results here and in just a second. I got a couple of applications open. Let me just close these out. I got no use for these. The less open, the better. I'm trying to do some streaming here. There we go. All right, we're cleaned up. Get back into my notes, and we're ready to rock. Yeah, I think the days of brand pay-per-views are over. Everything's kind of like a co-branded thing now. And yeah, we're going to talk about that Elimination Chamber pretty much first because that's what Raw opened up with tonight. So we'll be getting into that. And I was a little bit surprised about it. And I guess we'll have to find out what they're going to do for the women's chamber match and what's going to go on there. WrestleMania 12 might be interesting. As a matter of fact, that plaque right there, that's a piece of the ring from WrestleMania 12 right behind me, the Shawn Michaels plaque from the Iron Man match. That took place right up the road from me in Anaheim. I could possibly do that one. WrestleMania 15, I was there, Kedrick. I was at WrestleMania 15. Even though I was there and I love doing reviews on shows I witnessed in person, I don't know, man. That one sucked. That WrestleMania. So I want to do a fun one, you know what I mean? 12, maybe. Melissa's got a good one at WrestleMania 14. That's a possibility, too. I'd be into that. Believe it or not, I was actually thinking about stuff that's a little bit more recent than those. I'd love to do some old school ones. I'd love to watch WrestleMania 8 or something with you guys. That'd be fucking sweet. But I'm open to doing, like the 18s and the 19s, or, 21 might be fun. 22 might be fun. 24 might be fun. A lot of those, After 25, though, I don't know if I'd want to watch any. I'd rather, keep it, nostalgic or as close to that as possible. Appreciate the 5 from you, Storm Adam. You and Solomonster and the Good Micro community. Oh, you, Solomonster, and the Good Micro community make wrestling enjoyable. Still fun to check out on YouTube, etc. Haha. Much love to everybody. Well, thank you so much for that, Storm. I appreciate it. I try to do my best over here to try to have fun and keep it, even on really, really bad nights of wrestling, at least try to keep it to where we're not, throwing our TVs through the fucking wall and shit. So that's kind of fun to be up here. I appreciate you guys supporting through all these years, especially you. You like the main event? Kedrick, the main event was like good. I mean, Austin got his moment, but everything was just, remember he came out without his jacket. He forgot his jacket. It just felt like it lacked, and it was predictable. I mean, you knew at Survivor Series when Rock won the title, Austin Rock, WrestleMania. I had no doubts in my mind. I watched all those pay-per-views live as they happened back in those days, and I was very tuned into what was going on, and you knew it. You knew months before that was what they were going to do, and they were going to give Austin the moment again, just like he had the year before. And just to solidify his status, I guess, as the guy, and it made The Rock in the process. So I guess it wasn't, it wasn't all horrible. He finally, he got his revenge on Vince McMahon. But shortly after that, Vince was babyface, and then it was the higher power, and then he was briefly aligned with Austin, only to turn on him again. It's just like it never ended with those two. So I don't know. Yeah, I watch along for an Attitude Era Raw. We might do something. We're also going to be doing a video of some kind. I'm not sure yet whether it's a watch along or a review or maybe just a live stream we're going to be doing a 20th anniversary review of the last Nitro, the night that WWE purchased WCW, and we had the simulcast, and Shane McMahon showed up on Nitro. We're going to do something to commemorate that night. I believe that took place on March 26th. I already have a folder created for it, and we're going to try to do it on that day, depending on what day it is. Yeah, March 26th, and that will be the 20th anniversary of that final WCW Nitro. So we'll either review the Nitro, we'll either watch along the final Nitro, or I might just come up and review it as a standalone video. Not sure yet, but March 26th, we will be doing something to commemorate that for sure, because that is so vivid in my memories, man. God, watching that all take place live, you know, shit in my pants. I couldn't believe, you know, the word just came out a couple days before that WWE purchased WCW. And to me, that was such a crazy concept, even though there was talk of that. WWE was in the conversation in terms of who they could sell to, but to me, it still seemed like unlikely. And so when it happened, I just couldn't believe it. But WrestleMania 17 is going to be a fun WrestleMania to do a watch along for. We got the gimmick battle royal, you know, we got the TLC match, we got that great main event, Taker and Triple H. There's some good shit on there. Benoit and Angle, I think Jericho, and I think maybe Regal opened the show if I'm not mistaken. So there's some fun matches on that show. So I'm really looking forward to doing a watch along for that. February 28th, Sunday. 3 weeks from yesterday is when we're going to be doing that. And we're going to do 2 more, at least, maybe even 3 if we can, in the month of March. Undertaker's entrance attire, his gear at WrestleMania 15 was good. He was starting to transition. You know, he was making that turn into the ministry guy, and a couple weeks later, he'd be burning teddy bears and shit and crucifying Stephanie and all that stuff. But, you know, he had started it a little bit around late 98. That's when he was feuding with Austin. I think that's when they did the crucifixion thing. And then they had the match at the December pay-per-view. During the build to that was when they tried to embalm Austin, and Taker was already starting to get a little satanic, you know, speaking in tongues and shit and getting real fucking creepy. And then he really kind of fine-tuned that at the beginning of 99 going into the ministry. And I still think the ministry is one of the best things they've ever done, that had one of the shortest faction shelf lives that I've ever seen. I mean, how long did it really last? The ministry, you know, just a little while there, just a matter of months. And I think they could have gone so much further with it, but then it became the corporate ministry, excuse me, and the greater power bullshit that turned out to be Vince when they had an opportunity to make it somebody awesome. And so many things were dropped. I mean, it's a lot like the Invasion. For as great as WWE did, and for so many memories that they have made, they have fucked up so many storylines that should have been easy, that should have printed money, like the WCW Invasion, like the ministry, and they fucked it up. They fucked it up. They fuck up more than they get shit right, it feels like. So, I mean, imagine if all that would have gone just better, you know, who knows what could have came of that, you know? I was into the ministry. I was full on into it. I thought it was a great faction, great angle. Loved it. Loved the way they showed the vulnerability of Vince, you know, where he'd been such this asshole. Now, you know, you almost feel sympathy for him. Jesus, Undertaker's burning crosses on his lawn and kidnapping his daughter and burning family heirlooms, and Vince is crying and, you know, shit, you know, I never thought it could be done, but they accomplished it. So I was happy the night Austin came out and rescued Stephanie and Vince thanked him. Remember, he's hugging his daughter and he's looking at Austin. He's like, thank you. Thank you. Now, that was a great moment, you know, for me. I was like, it's kind of cool. Here, Vince is the most evil son of a bitch douchebag possible all through 1998, you know, but he was a great performer. They all did great in that whole situation. And I just thought it could have been better, but they got a little bit ahead of themselves. But anyway, that should be a good topic of conversation one of these days. We'll do a Ministry of Darkness, maybe review or live stream, talking about all their great moments, matches, and memories for the short time that they were around. And of course, you know, The Undertaker during that Ministry of Darkness angle won the WWE title on the night that Owen Hart died. So that also did not help matters. I was in the building actually in Charlotte night after King of the Ring when Austin won the belt back. I've actually seen Stone Cold win the belt twice in person. How lucky am I? But those are great times, man. But upon reflection, though, there's so many of those great times that could have been so much better if they just hindsight's 2020, you know. I'd be totally open to doing Raw watch-alongs, but I think I think for WrestleMania, since we're in WrestleMania season, I want to keep watch-alongs and videos WrestleMania related. On the other side of WrestleMania, I'll do some Raws, sure. The one where Mankind won the title will be fucking great to do. There's a lot of them. So we can find some classic Raws, come up here and do watch-alongs. Still working on the video game stuff. I'm all set up. I can pretty much start streaming games whenever I want. I've got the game capture. I've tested everything. I've done it. I just have to find time to actually sit down and maybe start, you know, doing some live streams, playing some games. Maybe we'll start here and start directing people over to a Twitch channel. So keep a lookout for that too. There's a lot going on. Got to try to be up here as much as possible. Yeah, somebody hit the thumbs down by mistake. Dumbasses. Oh, my God. Anywho. All right, well, let's start getting into the Raw results here so we can begin talking about what's going to be happening at Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania. Of course, we still have Fastlane as well, so we've got 2 pay-per-views in a row that we have to worry about here. I think both of the dates are the 21st. 21st of February, 21st of March will be the 2 pay-per-view dates for Elimination Chamber and Fastlane. And tonight, they pretty much set up Elimination Chamber. We really hadn't gotten any word on Elimination Chamber yet at all, so they finally kicked that off tonight. Raw did open up, though, I should say this, with a nice Butch Reed graphic, and nice rest in peace to him. They did that on SmackDown as well, so it was cool for them to do this on both nights and actually acknowledge his passing. He wasn't in the company long. We talked about this on the podcast on Saturday when I talked about some of my Butch Reed memories and what I remember of him. Seen him live, seen him wrestle live a couple of times as well. And, you know, for the short time he spent in the company, it was, you know, very cool to acknowledge them the way he did. Still don't know. Remember back when Viscera died and they didn't say anything? It's so random. He was there a lot longer than Butch Reed. But anyway, that's beside the point. Nice, classy graphic there for Butch Reed. Still very sad that he passed away. He was only 66 and serious heart complications there. So thoughts go out to his family, as we talked about on Saturday. But Raw opened up tonight in kind of a strange way. It opened up with Adam Pearce, which isn't strange to see him in the ring, but then he introduces Shane McMahon. So Shane McMahon is back. Shane McMahon's back with WWE. He comes out. We've not seen him on TV, I don't think, since the Raw Underground stuff, right? So I'm kind of like, okay, Shane's there. We know he's present backstage. We know that. He's helping out. Apparently he was one of the people responsible for booking out the Royal Rumble and planning out that. So he has a role backstage. We all know that, but he hasn't been on TV since the Raw Underground. And for him to come out here was just super random, because what did he do in this promo that Adam Pearce couldn't have just done himself? That's what he's been doing. So he basically introduces Shane McMahon just for Shane to announce that Drew McIntyre will be defending the WWE title in the Elimination Chamber against all former WWE champions, and they listed out his opponents. So they didn't even go through a whole bunch of qualifying matches, which was what I thought they were going to do. They just listed out Drew McIntyre's Elimination Chamber opponents. They are going to be Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, The Miz, and Sheamus. So this is a very interesting 5 people to pick, because you can make cases for a couple of these guys that they got no business being in there. First of all, if you're doing former WWF champions, where the fuck is Kofi Kingston? Did I just say WWF? I think I did. If you're doing former WWE champions, where the hell's Kofi, man? Why is he not in this thing? Especially when he's in this feud right now with Ali that could all be tied in so perfectly at the Elimination Chamber. If WWE gave a rat's ass about long-term booking and potentially pushing a new star, if that's something they actually fucking cared about, they've got a golden opportunity to do something really fun here. But instead, it's going to be a championship defense for Drew, and he's got all these opponents. Now, Randy Orton, Randy Orton does not ever not deserve a title shot. He's Randy Orton. He can get one whenever he wants. But based on what him and Drew have already done for the past 6 months, they've already traded the title, had a bunch of matches on Raw. Their issue is long done. The Fiend is going to be Randy Orton's problem at WrestleMania. So Randy Orton's got no business being in there at all. Get him out of there. Jeff Hardy hasn't exactly been setting the world on fire. He's taken a lot of L's on Monday nights lately. So why the hell is he in there? And the fucking Miz, talk about a guy who's been taking L's every week. I know he's got the briefcase, but that should give them all the more reason not to include him in this, because he's already getting a title shot that he doesn't deserve. So why is he getting another one? You know, so that it kind of annoys me that Kofi's not in this, and it annoys me that Ali is not in this. Now, I know they're trying to do the all former champions bit or whatever, but I still think there would be just a great way to tie in all of that for Ali to somehow get revenge on Kofi, and they can still do that here. As we're going to talk about here in a minute, I think the first match on the show was Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles. Jeff Hardy might have tweaked up his knee a little bit or something like that, at least in kayfabe. So maybe they're going to do a deal where he can't compete and somebody takes his place. But again, that someone should be Kofi. I think Kofi is still ahead of the line, ahead of Ali in the line. But if they were able to find a way for Ali to get in there, I know we all don't like Retribution. I've poked fun at them and trade a couple of jabs with T-Bar on Twitter and everything. But for the most part, we all like Ali, and we've all wanted more for him. This Retribution thing isn't everyone's cup of tea. It's certainly not mine, with the T-Balls and the Bisquicks and all these stupid-ass fucking names. But I still think that Ali is showing his ability when he's in the ring. He's still showing his leadership, his mic skills, his personality, and the fact that he does have a charismatic factor to his personality that should be, able to shine. We've all wanted this for him for the longest time. And I don't think on a WrestleMania that's 2 nights, when you're going to have not only 2 men's WWE title matches, possibly a men's NXT, definitely 2 women's title matches as well, plus cinematic shit out the ass. You're going to have some sort of funhouse crap with Orton and Bray Wyatt. You've got a lot of stuff going on that show. There is more than enough room for Ali to get a title shot at WrestleMania. I brought this up a week ago. Everybody shot it down. No, that's crazy. Ali against Drew McIntyre for WrestleMania. You are high as hell. Good mic work. Maybe. But what is wrong with long-term booking that results in the push of a new star? Don't we always say that? WWE relies on the same guys. Look at this Elimination Chamber match. It's 40-year-olds plus in there. All these guys have been champion. All these guys have had opportunities. You're never going to make anybody if you don't just try something. And I think that if you did something like take a chance on a guy with Ali for a title match at WrestleMania, yeah, that might not look very good on the marquee, but it'll look fine with all the other stuff on the marquee. There's a lot going on at WrestleMania where Drew does not need to face a Goldberg. Drew does not need to face a Brock Lesnar. He can totally face an Ali. Drew works great with the smaller wrestlers too. He's had a lot of good matches with like AJ Styles, Ricochet, and others on the roster. So I think that I'd be totally open to that. And if WWE really gives a shit about Retribution as much as they seem to, then just fucking push him then and let us boo him or whatever the fuck. But I mean, I think Ali, could be in a prime position here to get back what he lost from a couple of years ago. Kofi took a spot, went to WrestleMania, won the title. Ali can now do the same thing. And if he can do it at the expense of Kofi, or maybe even at the expense of Randy Orton, I laid out a scenario the last week. I was like, what if the Chamber, and this was back when I thought the Chamber would determine Drew's challenger. I'm like, what if in the Chamber, the last 3 are Orton, Kofi, and Ali? Because wasn't it Orton that attacked Ali in storyline that knocked him out of the Chamber match and gave Kofi the opportunity? So now it's 2 birds, 1 stone. Ali can get both these monkeys off his back now. And I mentioned the thing where the Fiend comes up through the ring, because in February, WWE likes to do that shit. They did it with Brett and Diesel in the cage in 96 when The Undertaker came up, and they did it with Austin and Vince in the cage in 99 when the Big Show came through the ring. So it's very common in February. They like it. So have the Fiend come up through the ring and grab Randy Orton, suck him down into the abyss, and Kofi is sitting there stunned. Ali remains composed and hits Kofi with whatever the hell his finisher is and wins the Chamber, goes to WrestleMania to face Drew. That's what I wanted to see happen. But now Drew's got to defend it. So I still think it would be cool if Ali was in this match. At least it would give him an opportunity to win the title. In the end, I don't think he will. I think Drew's going to go to WrestleMania, but I don't know why Orton needs to be there unless it comes down to Drew McIntyre and Orton again, and that's when we see the Fiend. I really think that, I suppose we could still see him at Fastlane, but I think that any pay-per-view until between now and WrestleMania, or any show where Randy Orton is the main event, we have a chance to see the Fiend in it. So he could get involved there and cancel Randy Orton out of this equation. They could get cute with the Chamber because people are in the Chamber, in the pods, but you're still going to be in the Thunderdome. You're still not going to have a full audience. You're not going to have an audience, a live audience. So if you want to do some wacky editing where the Fiend somehow teleports into the pod with Randy Orton, that would be cool. With whatever the Fiend, his new gimmick, his new look or whatever, maybe the lights go out and when they come back on, he's inside the enclosure with Randy Orton and just claws him down and puts him down in the enclosure, and then maybe bashes his way out of the plexiglass and drags Orton in the ring, Sister Abigail's him or something, and then whoever's in there can just pin Orton and eliminate him or something. I don't know. Something like that would be pretty awesome. Or he could attack Orton in the pod, lights go out and he's gone, and come back on and he's gone. So go out, come up, he's in there with him, claws him, lights go back out, come back on, he's gone. Orton's in there laying unconscious all by himself. They could do something like that if they wanted to with the Fiend, or even with Alexa Bliss. So we'll see. But I mean, if they're not going to involve the Fiend in this match to deal with Orton or to set something up with Orton, I kind of think Orton's taking up space in this match, doesn't really need to be in there. just based on what he's already done with McIntyre. And this was also originally kind of rumored to be Drew and Sheamus one-on-one, and that now has been changed. So anyway, that's what Shane McMahon came out there to tell us. Okay, so he was out there to make that announcement, and then he just leaves. He leaves as AJ Styles shows up because he's got a match to kick off the show against Jeff Hardy. He gets on the mic and talks some smack, and he tells Adam Pearce to leave, who does, and then Jeff comes out for his match with AJ. They go to commercial. We come back, and Shane, this is kind of important, Shane is walking into the limo, and he's confronted by Drew McIntyre, who I guess just walks around shirtless in parking garages with his title belt all the time. What a fucking stud that guy is. Approaches Shane McMahon. He's like, yo, dude, what gives? I thought based on our history, you'd give me a little bit of a heads up. I was under the assumption it was going to be me versus Sheamus for the title, and now you've put me in the ring with 5 guys in a chamber. Odds are really stacked against me, kind of don't appreciate that type of thing. And, Shane plays it off or whatever. So it goes back to my original question. Why was Shane on Raw at all? What did Shane do that Adam Pearce couldn't have done? Couldn't Adam Pearce have just been out there to make that announcement? Why did it have to be Shane? And why did Drew confront Shane? Well, we know why, because Drew's pissed that he didn't see that coming, but they planted a seed. They wouldn't go through that if that seed doesn't blossom into anything. So am I crazy for thinking that we might get Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon at WrestleMania? I mean, Jesus, I hope not, but it feels like it's a possibility, right? It does to me. So maybe it just leads to something else. I don't know. But I mean, for Shane to kind of turn up now, right before WrestleMania time, after not being on TV for a while, to make an announcement that he wasn't even necessary, he wasn't even needed for. Not the WWE doesn't bring people out for no reason. They do that shit all the time. But this one made me think a little bit more, and I'm worried that it might be Drew versus Shane at WrestleMania. And Shane didn't win the title, is he? Jesus, man. I don't know. I mean, if Shane worked with The Undertaker, I don't think working with Drew is really that far-fetched. So we'll have to see. Yeah, Nathan Hansen will be talking about poor Nia Jax. Rest in peace to her whole. Hope everything is well. Condolences to her whole family. Yeah, I'll see myself out. Chris Ludecki, appreciate the $5. You think WWE doesn't make new stars? The NFL went back to Brady as a Super Bowl winner again. When will they make new stars? Exactly. Yeah, I should have opened with that. We should be talking a little bit about the Super Bowl. We will. We'll get into the Super Bowl a little bit later on. And I did watch that last night, and fucking Brady, man. Jesus. Tell you what. Anyway, after Drew confronted Shane in the parking garage and Shane leaves, we get our first match of the night. Jeff Hardy taking on AJ Styles. Jeff appeared to tweak his knee a bit in the match. That also appears to be kayfabe injury. AJ wound up tapping him out with the calf crusher there. And AJ Styles is another guy that's also in the chamber. And even though AJ is a main eventer and absolutely deserves to be in there, and much like Randy Orton, can be given a title shot anytime, any place, it's not going to get any complaints out of me. I don't care how many matches he's lost in a row. He's AJ Styles. Give him a title shot because he's AJ fucking Styles. But he's also, much like Orton, already had matches with Drew McIntyre and pay-per-view and shit. So it's just another guy. If you ask me, the chamber should be Drew versus Lashley versus Keith Lee versus Ali, and maybe one more. Fucking Kofi or whoever else is kind of winning matches right now that he hasn't already worked with 17 times on fucking Raw since he's been champion. That's who it feels like it should be, because just The Miz has got no business being in this match at all. I mean, The Miz is a pretty good spot right here. I mean, he could actually... as we're going to talk about in a minute, when Edge completely just destroyed him on the mic, which was hilarious. He's making a big deal about cashing in at WrestleMania. He should cash in here. He essentially has 2 shots to win the title here. He could just hang out. What if he's the last guy in the ring and he loses or something, and then he's able to just cash in on the spot and then win the title? I don't know. He's got that opportunity if he wants. After that, we get Riddle approaching Keith Lee backstage. Good to see Keith Lee back, by the way. They've got a match together, and he just kind of walks up to Riddle and walks up to Lee, and Lee's like, "Huh, how's it going? My opponent for tonight. How are you?" And Riddle says he's been chilling out at home, just binge watching the Air Bud movies, and starts talking about all the Air Bud movies. He's always got some crazy shit to say. He says Lee can beat Lashley. Wait, what the hell? Can't read my own writing here. I don't even know what the hell I wrote here. Whatever I wrote is gibberish. That's hilarious. I wish you guys could read this because I don't know what the hell I was typing there. But he's basically talking, Lee is talking to him about his failed opportunities against Bobby Lashley. And of course, last week, Lashley roughed him up hard in their match. He's sporting a black eye from that. And they got a match later on. And Lee says, since you failed at all your opportunities to take the belt away from Lashley, maybe I am going to be the one next in line for that. Maybe beating you will be a good way to do that or whatever. So Riddle's cool with it. He wishes him luck. He's like, good luck, bro. And leaves and see you in the ring. So Riddle is always just like super friendly no matter what. Cracks me up. After that, we get Sheamus, much like Drew McIntyre confronting Shane McMahon. Sheamus confronts Adam Pearce, and he's like, what's wrong with you? I thought it was supposed to be a one-on-one match against me and Drew McIntyre. Now you've changed it. Are you telling me I'm not a draw? Yeah, Sheamus, he's telling you that, so are we. Love you. Your matches are great. You're probably I've never liked you better, actually. Never liked you more than I do currently in your career. But if you think you're not a draw, that thought is correct. So maybe that's why he's not. But he's a little bit pissed off about that. And Adam Pearce just talks his way out of it or whatever. So that segment was over. Then we get New Day taking on Retribution. I believe it's T-Bar and Bisquick or whatever. Ali is on commentary for this. A little bit high strung. He's, real jacked up. And he's, just ranting and raving on commentary, which is pretty good. I like Ali in this role. In the end, though, New Day get the win. And I just laid out all my ideas for Ali, if they actually wanted to give him a title shot, if, as the leader of Retribution and, maybe actually winds up winning it. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily hate it, but we can debate that as we get closer because there's still plenty of time. But with all this stuff going on with Ali and Kofi, they've got this feud. Ali is making it very known why he's targeting Kofi and the revenge he wants to get. How do you not put this guy in the chamber? Something's got to happen. Jeff Hardy has got to get knocked out due to that injury. The Fiend or something has got to attack Randy Orton. Or somebody's got to beat the shit out of The Miz or something to where somebody gets knocked out of their spot and Ali takes their place. I don't know how you don't do that, especially if it turns out to be it's like all WWE champions and Ali. I would love that. So I just can't believe they're booking this program between these guys that have so much history that dates back a couple of years that all kind of started on this one specific pay-per-view. You're at the doorstep of said pay-per-view and they're not in the chamber together. Like, what the fuck, man? So I'm assuming maybe it just leads to a match between them or something like that. But I want to see more. I want them, one or both, in the chamber. Maybe, like we said earlier, since it's all former WWE champions, if they do a deal where Jeff Hardy can't compete, they simply replace him with a new WWE champion or former WWE champion, which I think the only one left on the roster available would be Kofi Kingston. So maybe they can do a deal where Ali then attacks Kofi and takes his place at the chamber. That could work too, but I will be disappointed if Ali is not inside of that contraption with all those guys in a couple weeks. Oh man, here's my favorite part of the show. This was just lovely, wasn't it? Ric Flair and Lacey Evans are in the ring to cut a promo. Flair's all fired up. He starts talking about how he's never taken any shit from any woman and his daughter will be no exception. And, him and Lacey, their relationship is just casual. If she just gets a little caught up in the moment with my wrinkled sexiness, then, what can I say? It's just the way the nature boy is. And he says that he's managing her and she is coming after Asuka. So he is now going to be officially backing up Lacey Evans as her manager. And they're saying they want to target Asuka for the title. Now, Lacey gets on the mic and says a few things as well, talks about how she treats Ric Flair like the legend he is and like the legend that he deserves to be treated like, and blah, blah, blah. This prompts Charlotte to come out, and she basically challenges Lacey to fight right there. They're going to have a match to determine who will face Asuka at Elimination Chamber, but Charlotte wants to do it right there. Rick does not. Lacey jumps Charlotte while she's still in her robe, knocks her out of the ring, throws her into the steel steps. We go to commercial, we come back, and we are in fact having this match now. So this was a 3 commercial break long segment and match. It went a long time, and I think it went a bit longer than it needed to go, but it wasn't bad. Lacey is definitely no Charlotte. If they're trying to make these two like equals, they simply are not. Charlotte, I think, is miles ahead of her in terms of in-ring work and things like that. But Lacey did a good job of holding her own here, I think. Like I said, we got 2 more commercial breaks out of this deal, so it went a long time. And in the end, what was annoying about that is the match went so long, and this is for a title shot, they did a DQ. Charlotte kind of got a little bit ahead of herself, and she's really kind of working over Lacey. She's pissed off. Referee's calling from the break, and I think she shoves the referee or whatever, and he has no choice but to call for the bell and DQ Charlotte, allowing Lacey Evans to get the victory via disqualification, which earns her the match against Asuka at Elimination Chamber. So holy shit. Talk about protecting Charlotte. I don't know what they were doing there. I don't know why. I mean, they did the DQ there. You could have had something shady happen. You could have had Ric Flair, cost Charlotte the match. They could have cheated, hit her with a chair, fucking anything to get the victory to where she now gets the title match, and all that's going to do is just piss off Charlotte. And hell, I mean, it doesn't seem like this is not what I want to see on the marquee. Of course, I was hoping for a Rhea Ripley Royal Rumble victory, and then she could challenge Charlotte, who at Elimination Chamber Fastlane would defeat Asuka for the title, and you could get that rematch from last year. Doesn't look like we're going that direction now. Looks like we're going in the direction of Ric Flair versus fucking Charlotte at WrestleMania. You combine that with Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio, it's going to be too dysfunctional for one night. So we'll see. But I guess now, what do? Put the belt on Lacey, and you do Lacey Charlotte for the title at WrestleMania, and Charlotte wins yet another title at WrestleMania. I defend Charlotte, always will. I think fans who hate her are idiots, but even I don't want to see that. I don't want to see just Lacey versus Charlotte. Lacey's champion. Charlotte beats her. Maybe she has some sort of a reunion with her father or something. Her and Rick come together, or maybe Rick is in cahoots with her the whole time and turns on Lacey or something, and you just get this nice father-daughter moment. I don't not want that or need that for WrestleMania. So I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm actually hoping that Asuka just fucking beats Lacey Evans at the Elimination Chamber. But since we have WrestleMania on the horizon, it makes me wonder. So they could be now. I mean, you got to start thinking about that Raw women's title match at WrestleMania. What is it going to be? Because Bianca's going to challenge Sasha. I know she was on Raw tonight, but she's probably going to challenge Sasha. So what do you do for Asuka at WrestleMania here, assuming she survives Lacey? If she doesn't, then you're obviously probably going to do Lacey versus Charlotte at WrestleMania. But like I said, we don't want that shit. I'd much rather get Charlotte and Asuka again in a rematch. I'd be cool with that. I can't see this turning into some sort of a mixed tag or anything. Certainly not with Flair. So I don't know what the hell they're doing here, but with them actually placing Lacey with Ric Flair does make me think there's a legitimate shot for her to win the championship against Asuka. You know, if this is a standalone match, Lacey won some stupid 4-way in a fluke to earn a title shot against Asuka at the pay-per-view, then I'd say no way, Asuka retains. But since WrestleMania is coming up, Charlotte's always in a high-profile match at WrestleMania, and her father is now managing the challenger for the title. Feels like the stars are aligning there for Lacey to win the title. But that's not my first choice. My first choice is Asuka Ripley. My second choice is... my first choice is Charlotte versus Ripley. My second choice is Charlotte versus Ripley versus Asuka in a triple threat. And my third choice is just Charlotte versus Asuka straight up. Rematch from a couple of years back. I'd rather see one of those scenarios than anything else, and certainly nothing involving Lacey Evans or Ric Flair. Do yous agree? Nia ruptured her elimination chamber. I mean, I think that's her evacuation chamber. I think might be a better name for that. Yeah, Flair, my God. Yeah, the way they kind of just subtly reference that they are naked together is all I need. That's about enough of that. Corporal, appreciate the $2. Of course, mixed tag, holla holla player, Teddy. Yeah, Ric Flair, I don't think can be wrestling at all or walking. He's still cutting promos, though. He's starting to get like Vince, where they're just really starting to look their age. You know, they got those weird eyebrows going on. Not sure what's going on. They're so dark and black. Like, what the fuck? When did your eyebrows get so damn black? They both just look fucking tore back and busted. But that's what age will do to you. I'll be up here on this YouTube channel one day looking like a pile of wrinkled shit. So who am I to talk? Happens to all of us. Up next, this was great, man. We had an Edge promo. So Edge is back on Raw this week. And I was not in any way, shape, or form thinking that he was going to make any announcement tonight. So I just thought it was going to be cool to see Edge there. Probably going to be cutting a promo. Probably going to be interrupted by someone is what I was thinking. So he does. And he comes out and he goes, well, now that the Elimination Chamber match is made and Drew has to defend the title, he says he's going to wait. He's basically going to wait and see what happens at the Chamber before he makes any decision. So I don't know if that means that he's going to turn up on NXT again on Wednesday and SmackDown on Friday. I don't think he needs to, but he might show up on one of them. But in the end, obviously he's got to stay over on SmackDown and do the deal with Roman Reigns, I would assume, but he's going to stretch it out a little bit longer and probably make his decision right after or at Elimination Chamber. I could potentially see that happening maybe as the show goes off the air, because we don't know what Roman's going to do at the pay-per-view. I'm assuming he'll have a title match as well, won't he? Maybe not. Maybe he won't. But if he does, and if for some reason it's like the main event or something and he wins, Edge could come out in the end and officially challenge him if they don't want to wait a whole week until SmackDown to do that. Not sure, but he didn't announce anything tonight, which is not a big surprise. And he's then interrupted by the Miz and Morrison along with Angel Garza. What did I miss here? Have these guys been doing shit together on TV and I'm fucking blind? Probably. But I feel like that's a new thing. They're coming out in their suits. It's like the opposite of the Hurt Business, the squirt business. I don't know what you call these guys, where Miz's suit is bright fucking pink and Morrison's got some gray shit on, and then Garza is all in red. It looks like a fucking gigolo. And they get in Edge's face. They look like three complete idiots. They get in Edge's face, and the Miz is like, you might think you're going to win the belt at WrestleMania or whatever, but I'm going to cash in. I'm going to walk out of WrestleMania as champion. And this is when Edge just goes off. And he's like, who do you think you're talking to, you little prick? I made that fucking briefcase. I'm the first one that won it, and I've taken advantage of it twice. So don't talk to me about what you're going to do with that briefcase. Second of all, you're a goddamn moron because I'm the ultimate opportunist. You just told me what you're going to do. I can just look out for you. I can just see you coming, hit you with a spear, and pin your dumbass. So that was really stupid. I'm playing high-stakes poker. You're playing old maid. Great fucking line. And he says, I'm not content with being awesome. I did that 20 years ago. He did. He reeked of it, as a matter of fact. And Miz has been doing the same thing, playing the same old shtick for years. He's literally no different than he ever was in the last 10 years. Back in 2011, I mean, other than physically looking a little bit older, back in 2011, same promo, same attitude, same vibe, same energy. Miz has always been the same. So Edge calling him out for that was pretty funny. And he goes, you shouldn't be worried about me. You should be worried about Bad Bunny and Damian Priest and this Elimination Chamber match that you're in. That's it. And you're in way over your head. So fuck you. And just walks away. I mean, the look on Miz, that was just an absolute annihilation of one of the best on the mic in the entire company, The Miz. And he got fucking owned like I've never seen on WWE Raw. And it just gave me the warm and fuzzies inside. My God. Past the you-know-what. Great. So that was awesome. Miz kind of stood there dumbfounded. And I'm curious, what kind of a seed that plans. Is this fool really going to cash in this fucking briefcase at WrestleMania? I can't handle it, y'all. I cannot handle it. If he comes out there and he ruins one of these title matches by cashing it in on Edge, oh, God. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine that happening. I mean, you talk about heat, though. Holy shit. Edge wins the title, this great comeback story, and then Miz cashes in and crushes his dreams. But that's going to take a lot. That's going to be a tall order. Edge is going to have to get past Roman Reigns. And I said before the Royal Rumble, when I predicted Edge to win, that if he does win, he should face Roman and lose. I think Roman should beat him, at least right now. Maybe I'll change my mind once this match is made official and once we begin the build and the actual road to this match. And as I see how it goes, maybe I'll change my tune. I'm like, maybe Edge needs to get this moment or whatever. But I feel like Roman needs to remain unstoppable. He might have lost a little bit of that luster, a little bit of that magic at the last pay-per-view or at the Royal Rumble during that horrible botch of the last man standing match where technically he lost the title. And they just kind of made it look silly and stupid or whatever. So that makes me think we might get one more match with him and Kevin Owens, since Owens appeared on Friday Night SmackDown and gave him a stunner to close the show and all that. We'll see. But in the end, it's got to be Edge and Roman. It's got to be. Thank you for 2 more. Alpha Dorf, oldest ride, longest line. Flair at WrestleMania. That's true, too. My God, longest line. Yikes. Who was next? Oh, yeah, after that, we had actually a match between Damian Priest and Angel Garza. So I think Miz and Morrison and Angel, they might have stayed out there. Bad Bunny came out first, all by himself, separate entrance, followed out by Damian Priest. and Bad Bunny was basically in his corner for the whole match. So they have been paired together. Apparently, they are going to be working together at WrestleMania, most likely in a tag team match. And they got a long way to go if it's going to be Miz and Morrison. Shit, man, we got 2 months still, more than 2 months, until we get to WrestleMania. And they're going to have to drag this out every single week, these same type of fucking matches. So I don't know. At some point, maybe Bad Bunny's going to have to go away for a few weeks, or something else is going to have to happen, or maybe the Miz can concentrate on his Elimination Chamber stuff in the next couple of weeks, and then after Chamber, pick up the Priest stuff again. But right now, feels like it would be Priest and Bunny versus Miz and Morrison, I guess. But, you know, we'll see if we get any added components to that, like Angel Garza. Like I said, I have no idea why he was with them. If it's Miz and Morrison and Garza now, maybe it's called the dirt business, the dirt sheet, right? Maybe they call them I don't know. Call them something. And we'll see how long this little three-way lasts between these three fools. In the end, though, Damian Priest got a little bit of help from Bad Bunny. Miz and Morrison, I think, are trying to interfere, but Bad Bunny stops him, steals the briefcase, and like tosses it in the ring, which is enough to have, I think, Morrison go in to retrieve it. And amongst all of the confusion, Garza turns his back. Priest grabs him, hits him with the Reckoning for the win, and beats Angel Garza. So the alliance there between Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, like I talked about on Saturday, Bad Bunny is now my favorite person in WWE. I think the fans were so over the top, ridiculously fucking stupid over their anger and their hatred for him. Who the fuck is this? Nobody cares. It was so ridiculous that it's completely done. I've made me do a complete 180 on this guy. Not only do I want him there, I want him doing shit that drives you guys fucking crazy, because I did not understand that level of hate. Isn't this the same show that had Honey Boo Boo on it? Like, what the hell, man? I think we've seen far worse. Don't forget, Raw's 3 hours long. It's torturous to sit through Raw already. So, I mean, how is this really any worse than just any other stupid backstage segment we might have to sit through with cheesy dialogue and just no point, you know, and all these just ridiculous things we see on Raw? This is hardly like the worst thing ever. And, you know, it does attract a certain audience. They're, you know, bringing him in to help with other eyeballs. And we had a big talk about this on Saturday. Just because I don't know who he is or you don't know who he is doesn't mean that nobody does. The numbers don't lie. The facts don't lie. His social media following, his music downloads, his visibility is big. He's a big star. I'm just old and don't give a shit about pop culture stuff. So I'm never going to hear about someone like him. But I understand that that's on me, because I don't, you know, pay attention to where WWE's younger audience, they do. And they've all heard of this fucking guy. So I think getting this mad and upset about it, we've sat through 30 plus years now or more than that, but especially in the last probably 10 or 20, just a ridiculous amount of celebrities that had no business being there, that didn't care, that didn't know what they were doing, saying Summerfest and just being mentally checked out and only there to plug their stupid book or their stupid movie or their stupid album or whatever. This seems to be something that he wants to do. He's working out. He's taking it seriously. Big wrestling fan as a kid growing up, so he's actually aware of the business that he's in. And then he's working it. He's not just completely clueless out there like Pamela Anderson was back in 1995 when she didn't give a fuck what was going on. And she was just going through the motions and did nothing to add or help at all. So at least he's trying, and I think we should at least cut him some slack. You don't have to like that he's there. You can roll your eyes at celebrity involvement. It's no problem. That's all it really should have been. We should have all just rolled our eyes at Bad Bunny. But no, wrestling fans can't be rational. That's not in their DNA. They have to be crazy, stark, raving, fucking mad over something that really, at the end of the day, is it really a big deal? The shit we are spoon-fed weekly on Raw for 3 hours every Monday. This is what you decide to get mad about? I can pick literally 500 more things more important and more infuriating that they do on Monday Night Raw and in WWE in general than that. So I think everybody should let go of their anger, take a deep breath, and stop being crazy. Jesus Christ, y'all. After that, we had a Bianca Belair promo. This was kind of funny. She's talking about a lot of her options. She doesn't know what to do yet. She's thinking about it. I think we can also see the writing on the wall there where it feels like she should challenge Sasha Banks. I think that's the best match for her at this point, but who knows? They could change it up. Maybe, like I said, WWE probably doesn't even know who's challenging who yet at this point. They're just flying by the seat of their pants like they always do. But what was funny about this is Asuka showed up. And I think it would have been so funny if Asuka would have walked up to her and was like, "You don't even go here," you know, or whatever, in her cute little Asuka voice. Oh my God, I would have fucking marked out for that. But they kind of have a friendly exchange, and Should they talk about Lacey not being ready for Asuka or something? I forgot what they said, but they laughed together and had a nice moment. So that's kind of cool. Bianca and Asuka would be an awesome match. I just don't feel it. Ain't feeling that for Mania. I think it's going to be Charlotte or Asuka or Lacey or a combination of those, or maybe still there's a chance to get Rhea Ripley involved. I don't know. She came back at the Royal Rumble, hasn't been on NXT, so I don't know what they're going to do with her. We do have a women's Elimination Chamber match, I'm assuming, on Elimination Chamber as well, so that might be set up. I guess they might work on that. Are they going to do that for Charlotte? Is Sasha Banks going to have to defend in the chamber or something? I don't know what they're going to do for the women's chamber. I don't know if it's going to be for a title or for a title opportunity. I would think they would do it on Raw to determine Asuka's challenger, but probably not. How can you do that when Lacey Evans is facing Charlotte at the Elimination Chamber? So Charlotte's kind of booked. So she's not going to be in that match if they do it that way. So it might be a title match. It might be a defense for Asuka or a defense for Sasha, which is weird. That should be like Royal Rumble B. You know, the Royal Rumble determines, two challengers, and then the Elimination Chamber determines the two other challengers. It's kind of like what they should do. Otherwise, get rid of the chamber altogether. You don't need it. After the Bianca and Asuka promo, we had Keith Lee taking on Matt Riddle. We had MVP on commentary for this thing, which was good. This is a good match. This is another match that made me say, okay, cool. At least Raw's giving us some good in-ring work tonight, because this was off the hook in the end. Keith Lee won clean with the Spirit Bomb. Lashley comes out after the match and just beats the shit out of both of them. Hurt lock to Riddle, ragdolling him all over the place. Crazy spine buster to Keith Lee. Posts him out of the outside of the ring and hits him with the steel steps. So Lashley is just ridiculous, and I am loving me this Lashley. Now, I'm not going to bore you guys for like the 10th week in a row and profess my love to Lashley and talk about how he should never drop the U.S. belt and he should get a title shot while he's U.S. champion and win the title and forfeit the U.S. title and just go on a dominant run and not lose another match until minimum of fucking August. I'm not going to do that again. I do want him to never lose a match for the rest of his life now, based on his just badassness here. And it's just, I'm so happy to see that, because I thought he would never recover from the obstacle course and sister bullshit with Sami Zayn. He already came in, a little bit in a lackluster way. I think we worked with Roman at first, but, he didn't have that aura about him, didn't have that badass quality or anything that he kind of had when he was in TNA, honestly. But, they just didn't bring him in there as the badass he should have been, to where you should want to think of a dream match with Lashley and Brock. But he never did that. Lashley and Brock would be cool no matter what, but they weren't positioning Lashley as somebody that would have that dream match scenario with Brock. Now I feel that way. Now I want to see Lashley in there with everybody. I want to see Lashley in there with Roman and Brock. I think he would eat them up and spit them out. So seeing him this way is great. Now, after this, a little while later on in the show, they did announce officially for Elimination Chamber, it will be Bobby Lashley defending the U.S. title in a triple threat match against both of them. So he's going to have to face Keith Lee and Riddle for the title Elimination Chamber. And I don't want to see Lashley drop the belt, but if he's gonna, just do the finish with one of the other two and have him lose the belt that way. Maybe Riddle grabs the belt here by pinning Keith Lee. I'd be okay with that. I don't want Lashley losing the belt at all, but at least he's in a triple threat scenario now to where he's not beat. I think it's extremely important for WWE, regardless if he drops the belt or what they do with him in regards to his United States title run. I do not think Lashley's shoulders should be pinned to the mat anytime soon at all. Like, not even fucking soon, not even this year, if you're asking me, but a really long time, unless there's just a lot of help or a lot of cheating or something like that. No quick roll-ups to lose the belt and distraction shit. Just keep him strong, dominant, intimidating, believable, legitimate, credible, all that stuff. Keep him that way, because you can set up just monumental matches with people in the future. He's already kind of worked with Drew a little bit, but if you can keep building him and not try to pull the trigger too quick and just put him in another match with Drew just for him to get beat again or something, and really build him up for some sort of a dream match, maybe with Brock, or, if he somehow finds his way to SmackDown and challenges Roman Reigns. I think Roman and Lashley would be a pretty attractive looking SummerSlam main event for the Universal title, especially if Lashley continues on this dominant run like this. So he could drop the belt here at Elimination Chamber. They could do it and have Lee or Riddle pick it up. I think maybe the most likely one would be Riddle, and then maybe he'd drop it down the line. But I'd prefer just to see Lashley go into WrestleMania as U.S. champion. And if he does, that, poses another question. Who does he face and what does he do at WrestleMania, if anything? So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that match is official for Elimination Chamber, triple threat. After that, we got a Randy Orton promo talking up his main event match with Drew McIntyre later on. And after that, we had the tables match, which I didn't see this match advertised earlier on in the day. I must have missed it, but Nia Jax and Lana were booked in a tables match against each other. So I don't know who these tables pissed off to get booked in a match like this. This must be punishment for those tables. They must have shown up late. But during the match, Nia Jax, this is actually the finish of the match. Nia Jax has got Lana down on the apron on the outside of the ring. She goes for a leg drop, misses, lands right on her ass on that hard ring apron, and falls down. And she's just wincing and grimacing like, my butt, my hole. She says, my hole. Or she goes, ow, my hole. And I immediately tweet, I'm like, did Nia Jax just say, ow, my hole? And everybody tweeted back like, yeah, she definitely did. That's what she said. I heard it. I rewound it. I listened to it. And I don't know what that was about. I don't know if she was trying to be funny. It kind of was to me. So Nia Jax injured her hole. And as she's kind of like trying to walk it off, Lana winds up shoving her just through a table or whatever on the outside of the ring. And Lana beat her. Lana beat Nia Jax in a tables match. That was pretty damn funny. Naomi, after the match, fights off Shayna Baszler as they go to commercial. And so Lana's got the victory there. I guess they're going to be now building up Lana and Naomi as a legit team to take on Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for the tag team titles. I kind of thought that Mandy and Dana would be next in line for that, but since Naomi came back, they want to give her something meaningful to do. So she's in this thrown together tag team with Lana that's probably not going to even last very long, but maybe it would be cool if Naomi and Lana won the tag team titles at WrestleMania, and so did the Usos, assuming Jimmy ever comes back ever and he's still alive. If Jimmy comes back and rejoins Jay and they win the tag belts at WrestleMania, that would be pretty cool. Husband and wife, both tag team champions, probably never been done before since the women's titles haven't been around that long. So that might be fun for them. I don't know. But Nia Jax went down in this match and seems to have injured her hole in the process. So we want to offer our best wishes to Nia Jax's hole. Hope everything's all right there. And best of luck to it. And what did we say earlier? Condolences to the whole family, the Hole's family. That's awesome. We're so mature. We go to commercial. I did not know. Again, I had no idea if this match was advertised or if something was said on commentary prior to the commercial break that I wasn't paying attention to. All I know is we went to commercial, came back, and now we got Shayna Baszler taking on Naomi. And Nia's not even out there. Nia Jax gets taken to the back to receive medical attention for her hole. So Shayna's out there all by herself, but Lana sticks around to back up Naomi. And Naomi wound up rolls up Shayna Baszler after a little scuffle on the outside of the ring that Shayna had with Lana. Gets back in the ring. Naomi rolls her up, pins her, and beats her. So Naomi and Lana both score victories in singles matches over Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. And there you go. And that'll be, I guess, your tag team title feud going forward, I suppose, unless they do the tag team title thing again in the chamber, which I hope not. I'm hoping the women battle in there either for a title or for a title shot. Oh, good. It's main event time because you guys have to help me with this. So Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, your main event. I'm thinking that this is going to end in some sort of a DQ, but I'm thinking it's going to be like on the Alexa Bliss, The Fiend side of things. No sign of either one of them tonight. And Alexa Bliss apparently is dealing with a scary situation. Some fucking nut job is threatening her and stalking her and say he's going to kill her husband and he's going to be waiting. He thinks he's married to her. He's telling her fiance to get his hands off his wife and shit. He's completely out of his mind. So I don't know if Alexa was off TV because of that or if they were going to be off TV in general. So I kind of thought it would be Fiend related or something like that with Randy Orton that would lead to this match ending. Instead, it turned out to be Sheamus who comes in the ring at the end of the match and goes for a bro kick on Drew. Drew kind of moves out of the way. Sheamus hits Randy Orton instead, and the referee calls for the bell. So am I crazy to think that I'm not crazy to think that Randy Orton won this match officially, right? Randy Orton beat Drew McIntyre via disqualification. That's what I wrote down in my notes. They never said it on commentary. Referee just called for the bell and the show went off the air. So after Sheamus bro kicks Orton, referee calls for the bell. Drew turns around there then and claymores Sheamus. And Sheamus goes down and Drew stands over him as the show went off the air. So the whole Randy Orton-Drew McIntyre match was pretty much pointless. It ended in a disqualification when Sheamus got involved. And it was, just more to set up the Drew and Sheamus feud, which I'm sure will probably continue beyond Elimination Chamber, and maybe Sheamus will get that one-on-one match that he wants at Fastlane, assuming Drew does successfully defend the title in the Chamber, which I believe he will at this point. Unless they do some massive change to the opponents, there is nobody on that list of opponents for Drew McIntyre that I can see defeating him at the Elimination Chamber for that title. That's another problem I have with it. Because Sheamus is really that's the crazy part about this. Sheamus, I think, has the best chance of all those guys. It ain't going to be AJ right now. Just no, it's certainly not going to be The Miz. Definitely not going to be Jeff Hardy. And Randy Orton's going to be doing shit with The Fiend in a program that certainly doesn't need the title. And I hope WWE doesn't feel like it does. And they put the belt back on Orton. They already did that first time they wrestled back in 18 or whatever it was when Bray was champion. So, or maybe it was 2017. So we'll see. I think Drew McIntyre's probably going to have another boss performance, and he's going to look like the stud that he is and come out of the Elimination Chamber as champion. We'll see if The Miz attempts to cash in there. We'll see if any of the Chamber opponents are changed between now and then. I think that is a possibility. But in the end, I can't see anybody beating Drew for the title. I think he'll remain champ going into Mania. So maybe after that, something in the Chamber will happen between McIntyre and Sheamus. Maybe he'll eliminate Sheamus, or maybe Sheamus will get eliminated before he had a chance to fight Drew, and then they'll set that match up for Fastlane, where Drew will then beat him and then officially go into WrestleMania to hopefully face whoever's figured it out by now. I don't know how they're going to determine that now that the Chamber is not for a title opportunity, it's for the title itself. How do you determine Drew's challenger? That's something we should think about. How are they going to do it now? Are they going to do some stupid shit on Raw? We're going to have 3 triple threats, and then the winners of those three matches facing a triple threat. Or is it going to be 8 singles matches and the winners facing a fatal 4-way? Like, it might be something like that on TV, which I'd prefer them not do. I'd rather have it be something a little bit more of a personal issue. And Drew McIntyre and Sheamus definitely have that. They even ran a video package talking about their friendship. So I suppose it's not really out of the realm of possibility that they actually do Drew McIntyre against Sheamus. I made the case for Ali earlier on, and one of my arguments for putting that match together is saying, hey, WrestleMania is big. It's 2 nights long. We're going to have 4 world title matches, between the men and women, possibly 5 if they throw a NXT one in there. We're going to have an IC, a US, a Firefly Funhouse, a couple of tag belts are going to be on the line. There's going to probably another attraction match of some kind and a battle royal or 2. There's going to be so much going on there. You can afford to have an underwhelming match challenger or something like that. Maybe it's something Drew and Sheamus can say they did together. They main evented WrestleMania for the championship together. Maybe WWE wants to give them that. So if I can defend an Ali title shot at WrestleMania, I suppose I can do the same for Sheamus. So maybe that's actually what they're going to do. Maybe this is just time killing until you get to WrestleMania, and at the end of the day, when all the dust settles, it will, in fact, be Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus at WrestleMania. It might. I don't think anybody really wants to see that, but I think it's something, at least at this point, we have to consider, since the Chamber obviously is not going to be used now for the number 1 contender spot. So we'll see. This is all hinging, of course, on the fact that Edge is probably going to challenge Roman Reigns, but he could fuck up the works too, if he turns out to challenge and swerve us all and challenge Drew McIntyre instead, and then Roman's the one left without a challenger. So we'll see. Hey, Ronnie, is that you, man? Good to see you. I missed your comment earlier. Yeah, that's you. I can see your face. It's so small. So you're the one I was talking to the other night on Twitter. Good to see you, man. Glad you are here. Hope all is well. Yeah, okay, so is that when he was Bobby Lashley was dominant? That was 2017 TNA? Yeah. All I saw was YouTube clips and stuff of him, and I definitely liked him a lot more. I just liked his aura in TNA a lot better, and just could not believe how badly WWE failed at making this guy believable, because he is in real life, like, it's just, how do you fuck up Black Brock Lesnar? Like, I don't get it. Only WWE can do that. The dude is just unbelievably good and tough, and just his look is stupid. Dude hasn't aged a day in 17 years. Lashley's the man. If Drew beats Sheamus in 5 seconds, you'd be okay with it? Damn, Drew or Sheamus doesn't have a love interest right now, does he? How cool would it be if it's like Drew and Sheamus for the title, and Sheamus's girl is on the apron and he gives her a kiss and he turns around, bam, eats a Claymore. What was the Daniel Bryan match? 18 seconds or whatever. Same thing happens to Sheamus. That would be fun. Why not? Naomi is married to the one not injured. Yeah, she's married to Jimmy. So yeah, that might be cool for, husband and wife, tag team champions. You never know. Yeah, I was surprised that Nia hurt her hole. I can see her hurting her tailbone or her ass meat or something like that, but her ass hole or her butthole, well, there was nothing sticking up. At least I hope. 1,000,000 to 1 shot, Doc. Maybe she got a few silly Jerry's stuck up there. It's possible. It's possible. Yeah, I'm with Mika on that one. Lesnar and Lashley SummerSlam match sounds great. Any high-profile match for Lashley at WrestleMania, or I'm sorry, at SummerSlam is good with me, provided he wins, of course. Hurt Business versus for Hurt Business over the Elite. Yeah, in a real fight, they'd fuck them all up. I think Bobby Lashley beat them all by himself, to be honest. And I like the Elite, but they don't really give off the vibe of tough guy. Maybe Page. I wouldn't fuck with Adam Page. Lashley is like the WWE version of Mike Tyson. I don't know. Maybe he is now. He's just a little bit crazy. I don't want him to be that version though, because Mike Tyson's not a saint, and he did some jail time, and he's bitten off people's body parts. Actually, I'd be cool if Lashley bit an ear off. I'd be totally fine with that. Oh no, Victor, I don't know about that. Do I have any problems with YouTube timing people out for no reason? Which should be a mod doing it, but it's YouTube doing it. I don't know why they're being timed out unless maybe I timed them out once and it remember. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I'm hoping nobody has those issues. Unless somebody timed them out earlier and their time is not up yet. I'm not really sure how the timed out works. No, I think, yeah, I don't even think it was, I don't even think the butthole injury was a work. It felt to me like Nia was trying to be funny or just sell in a funny way. Maybe she's trying to pop the girls backstage. Sometimes you do that. So maybe she was just like, my hole. But what she doesn't understand is that we hear that and then we can talk about it on YouTube. So yeah, I don't know. Okay, it was not in this stream. Then I don't know. You shouldn't have any problems unless I personally blocked someone before or whatever. I don't know. I have no idea, but it's pretty rare for me to go through and block. Sometimes I'll eliminate a troll or something in here, but for the most part, it's not usually that much of an inconvenience. I don't know. Damn, for those of you who are here, if you can do me a favor and smash that thumbs up button for me, I'd appreciate it. It looks like we have a pretty light audience tonight, so I'm not going to be hanging out forever. Going to get some stuff done. Got a lot to do coming up, WrestleMania time, that sort of thing. Taking a look at the, thank you for that, Deshaun. I got the Vengeance Day poster for Sunday. Triple threat for the women's title. Io, Mercedes, and Tony. Got Gargano and Kushida, Peter Dune, and Finn Balor for the NXT title. So that's pretty good on paper. And we have the two Dusty Classic finals, right? Men's and women's, which are both going to be pretty awesome. Did you guys catch the Casey Catanzaro shit today? I saw apparently she was I don't know if she did this a while back or what, but there's a video of her like in her apartment or in her house or whatever saying, "Hey y'all, I'm gonna tell you like what I like to do for the pandemic and the protocols that I think we should all be doing." And she kind of basically lectures people about what they should do, and then immediately cuts to footage of her in an extremely crowded bar with nobody wearing masks, right next to her friends, partying it up. Fucking hilarious. So that was pretty hilarious today. Got a kick out of that. We never did talk about the Super Bowl. What did you guys think about the Super Bowl last night? You guys who've been following me over the years, you know how I feel about Tom Brady. I can't stand the Patriots and Tom Brady. I've always I've always respected him. The way it went for me is I didn't like them at first, They started winning a lot, and you know how everybody feels about teams like that, the Yankees and the Celtics and the Lakers and shit like that. You know, people just naturally dislike those teams, which I did. But then as more years went on, and they're just there every year, I really started respecting them. You know, I was like, okay, I don't really love the Patriots, but they're crazy good. And then I remember the year, I've had so many Super Bowl parties and so many great memories, but the year that they played the Giants when they were 18-0, and I watched that whole season, you know, watch them win and win and win and win. And then they get to the Super Bowl. I had a little 1-bedroom apartment back then in 2007. I had close to 20 people in there, and we were all packed, huddled around my 50-inch TV, no room to sit down. People are just standing up, and we're all watching this great comeback. The Giants come back and beat the Patriots, and just watching the way they handled it, the loss and everything, I just kind of changed my tune on them a little bit. You know, I'm like, you know what? I got to respect them. That's just, they're stupidly good. They're, you know, they're like a machine, that organization, the way they're coached, and Brady and all that. And then where I turned again and lost them was during the Deflategate stuff, because that really rubbed me the wrong way, especially with Tom Brady, because he was almost like when he was trying to explain himself and talk his way out of the cheating that he did do. It was such a ridiculously bad job of lying. I'm like, you must really think people are stupid. It's like Donald Trump a lot. He's so in his own universe that he doesn't know that the bullshit flying out of his mouth, we ain't buying it. He's 100% lying. And Tom Brady was doing that. He's like, oh, when he was trying to tap dance his way around the balls and how they feel and all this. I'm like, you're lying. This is what liars do. You know, they kind of tap dance around. I'm like, this is fucking horseshit. And what made me the most mad about that isn't because they cheated to win. It was because they cheated when they didn't have to. They didn't need to cheat. They were already the best team in football. They were already going to win the Super Bowl without touching the fucking balls. That game that they got busted in, they won like 41-6. It was a blowout. Had nothing to do with the balls. If you just left the balls alone, you still would have won 41-6 or whatever it was. I think it was against the Colts. And so I found that so ridiculous. I'm like, this is there. And they had the spy shit too. They already spied on teams a couple seasons before that. So what made me so mad, I'm like, this team is so good with so much talent, so well coached. They're a dynasty now. People want to go there and play there. And they're in the Super Bowl, in the hunt, in the mix every single year. Tom Brady's been there 10 times. They did not need to do that. I'm like, to be that brass, just to be that, ballsy, to not only be the best team, but then try to get that extra advantage and cheat when you don't need it. You should have been able to rely on your ability and your talent and your players and your coaching staff to win those games and win the Super Bowl. And you're going to go and fucking try to pull some shady shit. I lost respect for him. And then I lost respect for Tom Brady when he tried to lie his way out of it. I'm like, how fucking dumb do you think we are? I think we're 10 years old. You know, only a 10-year-old would believe this nonsense that you're saying right now. You are full of shit. So that was it. I was done. I'm like, I'm over you guys. Done. Fuck you, Patriots. You bunch of weirdos. I don't like you. I don't like your fans. Don't like your stupid faces. You know, I didn't like any of them. So I was very anti-Patriots. But then Tom Brady, he leaves the Patriots. He goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I kind of eyeballed the season a little bit all year, you know, and like, okay, you know, Tom Brady's probably not even going to make the playoffs. I think it started a little rocky down there too. I'm like, can Tom Brady go down to another system and actually be at that level? And there was a great debate. Who was responsible? You know, it's like the Hogan Piper debate in wrestling. Who was responsible for that rock and wrestling era? Was it Hogan as the champion, or was it Piper for giving Hogan a heel to work against? So who was responsible for the Patriots' success? Belichick or Brady? I think that question is answered now, because holy shit, it was literally like Tom Brady picked a team at random and was like, hey, y'all want to go to Super Bowl? And Tampa Bay's like, oh yeah, we'll go. He's like, all right, let's go. Hop on my back. Let's do it. And they had some talent too. Gronk's there and Antonio Brown and shit. So it's not like Brady's the only person on the team, but fuck, this guy's on the same system, the same team for 20 years, goes to a different team and wins the Super Bowl in the first year. That's insane. Even Manning didn't do that. Didn't he go to Denver? He lost first, and I think he won the next year, and then he retired or whatever it was. So even Manning hasn't accomplished that. Montana never did. He didn't win jack shit in Kansas City. You know, so this is a player that we're never going to see in our lifetimes again. You know, so he's beyond everybody. I mean, and look at his run to the Super Bowl. Look at what he fucking did. Who'd he beat? Breeze, Rodgers, Mahomes. The three best quarterbacks in the league. He went through all three of them. Unreal. And I like the Bucks. I don't have anything against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've had, much like my Lions, they've suffered through a lot of shit, a lot less than my Lions actually, because at least they've won some championships. One of my fondest memories ever of a Super Bowl party was 2003 when they played against the Raiders. John Gruden was coaching them. He used to coach the Raiders. Raiders had that center and went AWOL or something, went missing the night before the Super Bowl or whatever. And I had a huge Super Bowl party in my apartment, like 25 people in there. We had like 4 different TVs set up. It was a blast. We even partied later on after the night. And I had about 6 or 7 hardcore Raiders fans in that apartment that night. And they were devastated. And I liked the Bucks. I've met Trent Dilfer. He comes into my restaurant all the time. And Warren Sapp was on that team. And like I said, Gruden was the coach, and they beat him. They beat the Raiders in kind of an upset and won the title. That was nearly 20 years ago. So I always have a fond memory of the Bucks for that. I thought they were a good team back then. And I'm glad they won here. Never, like I said, never a big Brady fan, but you can't ignore. That's just ridiculous. That's good. Brady is the fucking man. I hate to say it, but he is. And that's pretty incredible. You know, I always try to respect the greats, even if I don't like them. I've always defended. Back in the day, I used to defend Kobe Bryant. He never passes and shit. Like, people just bitch about everybody. Of course, now everybody thinks LeBron sucks. And I'm like, why don't you play him on one-on-one? You tell me if he sucks or not. Dude's got a handful of rings himself, you know, and he's super athletic. So I always tend to just defend the greats. And I would have defended Brady till the end of the earth, but the cheating shit, the ball shit just pissed me off. There's no way to talk. If you're a Tom Brady fan that justifies that, save your breath. He lied. You might as well own up to it. But I can't deny that he's just the fucking best. He didn't need to cheat. They would have won without it. So I guess he gets a little bit of a pass there with the cheating, because even if they wouldn't have cheated, he'd still have the same amount of rings. It wouldn't have mattered. And that's what infuriated me about the cheating, is that it didn't matter. It was unnecessary. If you're going to cheat, at least do it in a way that actually gives you an advantage. Not in a pointless way. If you get caught, you know, like, it just screws you. You know, you had nothing to gain at all from it, at all. Nothing. So that's what always kind of rubbed me the wrong way there. But, you know, I'm going to look back. I mean, I've always appreciated sports. Like I said, I appreciate the greats. I spent a lot of my life in Wilmington, North Carolina, which was the birthplace and home of Michael Jordan. I've met him a couple of times. I've grown up in the 80s, especially in the NBA, and watched the greats. I watched Dr. J. I watched Kareem. I watched Magic. I watched Bird. I watched Jordan. I watched Barkley, Patrick Ewing. I watched all the stars of the 90s, you know, the Sean Kemps and and guys like that. And now here we're in the new generation of the Kevin Durants and the LeBron James and shit. And I've always just appreciated the greats, you know, like, just like you would in wrestling, you know, just like we as fans, you know, we appreciate some of the best heels in the business, even though when you were a kid, they pissed you off. You know, you grow up to appreciate them now. So I feel the exact same way about Tom Brady. Never my favorite guy, but, you know, it gives me hope, because Tom Brady and I are the exact same age. So the fact that he's out there winning Super Bowls, I'm like, okay, I ain't washed up yet. Although I do think I'm going to officially abandon my dream of winning more championship rings than Tom Brady. I don't know about you guys. I feel like it's just a little bit out of reach. I don't think I'll get there. I don't think I'll get to 7 rings. 6 maybe, but 7 is a little bit pushing it. So it's starting to look like Tom Brady will in fact win more championships than Greg Morgan. Shame. But what can you do? You can't argue with greatness, and that's what Tom Brady is. So in a weird way, I was actually kind of happy that the Tampa Bay Bucks won, in a weird way, because I think it is kind of historic, you know, for the game. You know, Mahomes is here. That kid is 25 years old. A little prick is 20 years younger than me, and he won a Super Bowl last year, and he's great, and he's exciting, and he's a good player. And, you know, he just got, you know, this was the equivalent of the fucking Undertaker versus Ricochet, you know, in this man. And that's what it was. You know, it's just, Ricochet's great and everything, but, you know, not yet, young fella, with your flippy shit, you know, and the way Mahomes can run around that field and toss those sidearm passes. He's stupidly good. He'll be back, and this will be a good lesson for him. He took his lumps. He lost to the greatest ever. No shame in that. But, you know, also karma plays a role a little bit. You know, that Andy Reid's son had that horrible car accident, and I don't know the status of that little girl. Last I heard, she was critical. I'm hoping she hasn't passed away. I've not looked at the updates on that. But that really sucked, and that hung a dark cloud over the Super Bowl. You know, a tragedy like that, him injuring all those people. And, you know, I have experience with that. I had a customer years and years ago when I was managing a restaurant back in North Carolina that came in and had a couple of drinks with us. and drove home like he would any night. He wasn't drunk, but, you know, he had a couple drinks and went home just like he would every night. Responsible guy, had a wife and kid at home, good job, made money, wasn't on drugs, just a normal everyday customer, had a couple of drinks driving home on a dark road. 16-year-old kid has a flat tire, calls his dad. The dad shows up to help change the tire. No street lights. Dude had a couple cocktails in him driving home. Bam, runs right over the dad and kills him. And, you know, we had to be told that the next day and say, hey, you know, that they could choose to sue you. You were the manager on duty. You were here when he was having those cocktails before he went home and stuff. So, you know, tragedies like that are awful, especially when something else is involved, like a couple of drinks that was with Andy Reid's son, and potentially even some prescription medication and things like that. And a little girl could very well either lose her life or be severely injured for the rest of her life. So that sucks. And when you think about all of that, it would have been hard to celebrate. I mean, I think if I was Andy Reid, it would be hard for me to, I mean, he doesn't really smile anyway. Dude could win the Publishers Clearinghouse. He'd be like, oh yeah, that's cool. You know, so if he won the trophy, he'd probably just be up there being Andy Reid. But, you know, how can you not be thinking about that? How can you not be thinking about what your son did and what that's going to do, and, you know, and the repercussions and the little girl's life and all that. So, you know, the Bucks were the right team to win, I suppose, you know, in that regard. My brother-in-law is from Kansas City, and he's a big fan. He was very depressed yesterday, and I shot him a text, and I wished him well. And I felt his pain because I know what it's like to be on the losing end of shit. I'm from Detroit, so of course I know. But that was, you know, kind of, you know, all kind of hanging over, you know, the Super Bowl. So, you know, in a lot of ways, the Bucks winning was probably just right, you know, just right for the world. So, congrats to Tom Brady. Deshaun, what's up, dude? Appreciate the $5. I plan on being in LA for next year at the Super Bowl. It will be at SoFi Stadium. I know it's going to be here. I even floated the idea to my girlfriend yesterday, and she immediately was like, hell no, we got to go to Dallas for WrestleMania. We got to go to LA the following year for WrestleMania. I was just saying, like, well, it's 2 hours away. We could just go to the Super Bowl. No, shut it. You know, we're not going. But that's right. We don't need to go to the Super Bowl. I have no interest in that. I'd rather just watch it on TV. But yeah, it is going to be here. And let's hope, fingers crossed, that there actually is a Super Bowl with actual fans. I thought, by the way, the stadium looked phenomenal. Based on what the NFL did yesterday with Raymond James, I am pretty damn confident now, based on how it looked, the WWE will make WrestleMania look awesome. They have time now. They're planning it out. They're figuring it out. They know what they're going to do, where they didn't have time last year to throw something together in 5 days. So with them having all this time now, and based on how the NFL made the stadium look, I think there was about 20,000 to 25,000 there. So about, you know, 1/4 its capacity, I suppose, maybe a little bit less than that, a little bit less than 1/4, but it looked phenomenal. They had cardboard cutouts of people. You could send in $100 and they would put your image on one of the cutouts and put it in the seats. And then you spread out the people. Still probably not the best thing to do, best idea in terms of spreading this disease, but it gave us a little bit of a sense to normalcy to me, watching it on TV and seeing an arena that appeared to have people in it. You could actually hear crowd noises and things like that. And based on how all that looked, provided the weather cooperates and everything, I think WWE is going to be able to make that look really good. Now, I don't know if they're going to do what the NFL is going to do and do the cardboard cutout shit, or if they're going to attempt to have some sort of a Thunderdome or a virtual and physical fan experience combined into one. I don't know. I don't know how it would look. The cardboard cutouts blended in well with the people, but I don't know how the screens would. So maybe that idea wouldn't work, but whatever WWE does, I think it's going to look pretty good. And it's really going to be our first show that's going to feel as closely back to normal as possible. WWE, I think, has said they don't plan on trying to have any sort of a live audience until the summer, which is smart. But for WrestleMania, that might just be the little taste of, we might get our life back, you know, in the next, you know, within this year of 2021. And hopefully by the time we get to next year's Super Bowl, there can be people. But honestly, I'm still concerned about that. I know vaccines will be happening and everything there, but are we going to see 80,000 people in SoFi next year? You know, I don't know. We'll have to see. But it gave me hope that WrestleMania will be pretty badass. I mean, last year, I don't even want to think about last year. I still cannot wrap my head around that they were inside the PC for WrestleMania. I still cannot wrap my head around that Brock and Drew and Ripley and Charlotte and all that shit took place inside. That's just crazy to me. That's like having WrestleMania in your bedroom or something, you know, when you're supposed to have it in a stadium. So this year will be different, and it's going to be nice to see WrestleMania get close to what it used to be. And I guess WWE is not ruling out doing 2 nights in future years. Right now, the plan is to go back to one, but I think Stephanie said in the earnings call last week that they're thinking about it. They might make it a permanent thing and turn it into like a Wrestle Kingdom type of deal, which a lot of fans would be in favor of. But there's still, I always like the one night WrestleManias. I think I'm still leaning towards the one night, but I can understand totally the argument for two, for sure, even though I'm not quite sold on it. Yes, Brady's have 7 rings alone. He's been to the Super Bowl, 10 times? He's been to the Super Bowl for 25% of my life, and some of you over half your lives. My God. What is not Tom Brady's fault? The cheating? Well, he was maybe he didn't deflate the balls himself, but he certainly lied his nuts off about it. That's 100%. Yeah, Chad, Stafford go to the LA Rams. So Stafford was the quarterback at my old hometown of Detroit, and now he's here in LA. So I just can't shake Stafford. I like Stafford. Apparently, I think Detroit got the better end of that deal with Goff, but I don't know, man, my Lions. But I've always liked Stafford. He was a solid quarterback. Always put up good numbers and stuff, and you know, I thought he could have been better, and think he might have been better with other teams. He had some good players. I mean, Stafford had Calvin Johnson, so it's hard to complain about what he had there to deal with. But he's just still in Detroit. He's in that fucking system. His wife's a little bit of a moron. She had some social media video a few months back, all pissed off about the stay-at-home order and stuff, and you know how this country just taking away my freedoms and all that stuff. So I'm like, oh, fuck you. So I don't give a shit about her or him. And if she has that type of attitude, she ain't gonna like it out here in California. She's gonna be outnumbered. But best of luck to him. I always liked him. Yeah, Deshaun, that's right. I did see Natalia posted that on social media today. Today is the birthday of Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Thanks for 2 more bucks. I don't know how old he would be. I'm guessing 60s, but yeah, passed away a couple of years ago now. The Anvil. Oh yeah, the halftime show. I didn't know who The Weeknd was. I thought The Weeknd was a band, and then I realized there's no third E in Weekend, and then I found out it was a person, not a band, and then I also found out that it was that's who sang the WrestleMania theme song last year. No, I had no idea, and I'm like, oh, that's who it is or whatever. And the halftime show was weird. I actually did kind of watch it. It's the first time I can remember, probably due to COVID, but like usually there's more going on. It was just him dancing and doing his thing, right? Like normally, doesn't there all sorts of surprise and special guests, you know, coming out? And I never saw his titty. That pissed me off. So here I am, patiently waiting for a titty, and I don't get it. So far, Janet Jackson is the only one to hook me up with that. But they've had some decent ones. I remember the first one Brady won. Actually, I just started working for my job that I worked at in North Carolina before here. I was there about 10 years. We were building a restaurant. We had just finished building it. We had owned some other places too. This is a new one. I had helped open it, and we'd only been open about 2 months. We opened in November of 2001, and then we decided to allow the staff to get to know each other. We were going to close on Super Bowl Sunday, allow everybody to come to the restaurant. We were going to pay to have cable installed. We didn't have cable ran in there, so we paid to have cable hooked up. We rented foosball tables. We got a ton of food, just cooked a ton of food. Everything was just a big party for the staff, and that was the the St. Louis Rams and New England Patriots when Bledsoe got knocked out of the game. Earlier, I think in the playoffs or in the season or something like that, Brady took his place, got him to the Super Bowl, and now they're huge underdogs against the crazy offense of Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk and whoever else they had on the Rams at that time. And they were basically supposed to go in, I think, as repeat as champions. Pretty sure they won the year before, or maybe the year before that, but they were going in there to win, assumingly, and they didn't. The Patriots with a huge upset, and Tom Brady celebrating all hands on the thing. I watched all of that, you know, with friends, drunk. It was great. And I specifically remember that year for the halftime show there because that was U2, and that was right after 9/11. So they had run, I remember this big, long, scrolling list of the victims of 9/11 that they ran during, while U2 was playing In the Name of Love or Beautiful Day or whatever their fucking hit was at the time. So I remember that being very cool. And I have a lot of memories of Tom Brady's very first Super Bowl. I remember another Super Bowl party I had in 2002, maybe, or 3. It was when whatever year was Patriots and Panthers. So I remember I was renting a house. That might have been 2004. It might have been the year 2004. Yeah, I think 03 was the Bucks and the Raiders, but I think it was 04. And I had a bunch of people over at my house for that. And that was a good game. And the Panthers almost beat them and shit. And that might have been the one with Janet Jackson. But the Prince one was the last good one I remembered. I think that was 07, Prince at the halftime show. That one I loved because I love Prince. But, and there was one with like Britney Spears and Aerosmith and shit from back in the day that I kind of remember. But yeah, I don't know where this one ranks, in the halftime shows. I'm usually not watching halftime shows because usually I'm at a Super Bowl party and I'm outside or I'm talking with people or we're taking a piss break or whatever, not really paying much attention. So I don't know where it ranks. Yeah, Metallica doing a halftime show. I don't know. I don't know if the Metallica's music is really the football audience's type of music these days, to be honest. They're probably, what they did at the Super Bowl is probably more for this audience with, I also want to call him Bad Bunny, the Weeknd. Yeah, I was making jokes about that all day yesterday that, Tom Brady feels like John Cena to me. They're both in Massachusetts or whatever the fuck, both from up there. Tom Brady's not from there, but he lived and played there with the Patriots for so long. And we were joking, NFL never building new stars. They going right back to Brady again, even when he's on a different team. I mean, Brady to Gronk, I think they hooked up for 2 touchdowns last night. Are you kidding me? Like, that's crazy. So never pushing new stars, putting Brady over, burying poor Pat Mahomes. He should just go to fucking NXT now or just quit altogether and go to AEW because there's no recovering from this. This reminds me of Charlotte and Asuka. Like, Charlotte beat Asuka. She'll never recover. She should just quit wrestling and fucking kill herself. And then, here she is, still fine, winning titles like it's fucking nothing. So Pat Mahomes will be okay. He's a young kid. This is a good lump for him to take at age 25. Build his character, another Super Bowl title, man. When you're 25, if I would have had 2 Super Bowl rings, I was pretty mature in my mid-20s, but even that would have gotten to my head. I'm sorry. I would have walked around like I was king fucking shit with 2 Super Bowl titles and probably would have been horrendously annoying. So it's a loss and pain and suffering builds character, makes you a better person. And I think that will be the case for Pat Mahomes. And a loss like this will only ensure that he's going to do whatever he can to never feel this feeling again, which is only going to make him fight harder and make him a better player. So I got nothing against him. Nothing against him at all. Man, Transferring Heat, thank you for that recommendation. How many fucking podcasts does Conrad have? How can they keep up the quality of these things? Doesn't he have one with Kurt Angle too? So he's got a new one now with Chris Hero and Kurt Angle. Is the Arn one still going on? Is Arn, JR, Bruce, Eric, is 83 Weeks still going on? Motherfucker's got 7 podcasts. I can't even do this one. Yeah, that's crazy. I would like to hear that though. Maybe it's Conrad. Maybe Conrad's not hosting it. I don't know. But Chris Hero covered his time in NXT and getting released. Very entertaining and insightful. I don't know why they got rid of him. They should have kept him around as a trainer. He's got a lot to give. I like Chris Hero. He's very well liked. And I'll listen to that for sure. Ric Flair has more championships. That he does, yeah. And I remember last time Tom Brady won a Super Bowl, it was all Ric Flair trended that night. It was the year they beat Atlanta, I think, with 28-3 ordeal or whatever. So everybody's like, holy shit, Brady's the greatest of all time. Like, Ric Flair. Undertaker went undefeated at WrestleMania, don't forget. I mean, Brady has lost some Super Bowls. What is he now, 7-3? Guess he's 7-3. He lost... I've seen him lose one recently. I can't remember who now. And I remember he lost, to the Giants and then maybe another one too. Yeah, not only does Brady have more rings than any other player, he's got more rings than any other fucking franchise. I think even Pittsburgh and Dallas and teams like that are only sitting at 6, right? San Fran. Jesus, man. Jesus. Trey. It's an older comment. You might not still hear this, but I have talked about the possibility of The Miz going to NXT. I wouldn't hate it. I think it would be funny if he just randomly showed up at Vengeance Day and cashed in on Finn Balor, and then he's NXT champion. And I know the fans would be like, holy shit, that sucks. Not as bad as it would be if he went and beat Drew or Roman for the title. So at least he can hang out there and then get humiliated. He'll get beat as badly in a match as he got beat on the mic tonight by Edge if he goes to NXT, and that will be pleasurable to watch as well. So Anywho, that is going to wrap it up for me. I'm going to get out of here for now. I got a busy week, things to get ready for this week. So just as a reminder, I'm going to be back up early this week for the Winged Eagle podcast this coming Friday, immediately following SmackDown. We'll be talking about the results of SmackDown, Wednesday night stuff, any news that seems to be going around. And then I'll be up here on Sunday as well for a Vengeance Day review. And then 1 week from tonight, I will not be here, not doing a Raw review because I will be out of town. So just keep that in mind. Thank you to those of you who hung out tonight and hung out, and I appreciate it. And I will catch you guys